Hari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Shodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama. Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama. Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe. Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama Krishna Rukmini Jaya Satyabhama Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 विश्वभार वरुण परिव्राचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमती जी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय धुरंधराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय प्रेम से गौर श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्त वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranteva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nastaprayesha Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 26, titled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 33. Arthashrayatvam shabdasya Arthashrayatvam shabdasya Drashturlingatvamev cha Drashturlingatva cha Tanmatratvam cha navaso Tanmatratvam cha navaso Lakshanam kavayo viduhu Lakshanam kavayo viduhu
अर्थाश्रयत्वं शब्दस्य द्रष्टुर्लिङ्गत्वमेव च तन्मात्रत्वं च नभसो लक्षणं कवयो विदुः
अत्ताश्रयत्वं च शब्दस्य द्रष्टुर्लिङ्गत्वमेव च तन्मात्रत्वं च नभसो लक्षणं कवयो विदुः
अर्थाश्रयत्वं शब्दस्य द्रष्टुर्लिङ्गत्वमेव च तन्मात्रत्वं च नभसो लक्षणं कवयो विदुः
Arthashrayatvam, that which conveys the meaning of an object. Shabdasya, of sound. Drashtuhu, of the speaker. Lingatvam, that which indicates the presence. Eva, also. Cha, and tat matratvam, the subtle element. Cha, also. Nabhasaha, of either. Lakshanam, definition. Kavayaha, learned persons. Viduhu, no. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Persons who are learned and who have true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view, and constitutes the subtle form of either. Purport. It is very clear herein that as soon as we speak of hearing, there must be a speaker. Without a speaker, there is no question of hearing. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge, which is known as Shruti, or that which is received by hearing, is called Apaurusha. Apaurusha means not spoken by any person materially created. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hrida. The sound of Brahman or Veda was first impregnated into the heart of Brahma, the original learned man Adi Kavaye. How did he become learned? Whenever there is learning, there must be a speaker in the process of hearing. But Brahma was the first created being who spoke to him. So there is no one was there. So since no one was there, who was a spiritual master to give knowledge? He was the only living creature. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge was imparted within his heart by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone as Paramatma. Vedic knowledge is understood to be spoken by the Supreme Lord, and therefore it is free from the defects of material understanding. Material understanding is defective. If you hear something from a conditioned soul, it's full of defects. All material and mundane information is tainted by illusion, error, cheating, and imperfection of the senses. Because Vedic knowledge was imparted by the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to material creation, it is perfect. If we receive that Vedic knowledge from Brahma in disciplic succession, then we receive perfect knowledge. Every word we hear has a meaning behind it. As soon as we hear the word water, there is a substance, water, behind the word. Similarly, as soon as we hear the word God, there is a meaning to it. If we receive that meaning and explanation of God from God Himself, then it is perfect. But if we speculate about the meaning of God, it is imperfect. Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence, which is the science of God, is spoken by the personality of Godhead himself. This is perfect knowledge. Mental speculators or so-called philosophers who are researching what is actually God will never understand the nature of God. The science of God has to be understood in disciplic succession from Brahma, who was first instructed about knowledge of God by God himself. We can understand the knowledge of God by hearing Bhagavad Gita from a person authorized in disciplic succession. When we speak of seeing, there must be form. By our sense perception, the beginning experience is the sky. Sky is the beginning of form. And from the sky, other forms emanate. The objects of knowledge and sense perceptions begin, therefore, from the sky. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Persons who are learned and who have true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view, and constitutes the subtle form of ether. So it's a very important point in the philosophy of Vedanta, the philosophy of transcendence, and how everything begins with the sound. Every manifestation begins with the sound. There is manifest and there is unmanifest. So this chapter is called Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. So every manifestation begins with sound. And here sound is defined as that which conveys the idea of an object. It indicates the presence of a speaker. Even in our modern understanding, this part they also agree. Sound is that which conveys the idea of an object. Next it says, indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view. So true sound is always sourced by a person. So sometimes you can see the speaker, but largely sound is more expansive because it conveys meanings. So all the time the speaker may not manifest. Just like so many people are reading these Bhagavatam verses, or Bhaktivedanta purports. 5,000 years back, you could see Vyasadeva speaking directly. That means his sound and the person who is speaking that sound could be experienced. Both were manifest. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, when he was on this planet, both his manifest form, or it is used this word lingatvam, externally manifest form, and his sound we could see, we could hear, we could experience. Now we are reading Bhaktivedanta purport. We are not seeing the speaker, but actually the speaker is there, unmanifest. Indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view and constitute the subtle form of ether. So ultimately, sound is never impersonal. Sound is produced by a person. Sound is a manifestation of a person's Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Vijnana Shakti, Chitta Shakti. That is, when it manifests to the gross ears, we call that as sound. In spiritual life, sound and hearing the sound is more fundamental for receiving Divya Jnana. Spiritual life means receiving Divya Jnana, spiritual knowledge. That is more fundamental than seeing. In fact, our seeing has to be dictated by our hearing. But when we are in too much gross bodily platform, influenced by tamoguna, then seeing seems to be the way for truth. Seeing is believing. Anything that you don't see, it doesn't exist for you. Just like those who are in the gross body, their idea of self is, I am this gross body. They don't see even the subtle body. They are using the subtle body, but they don't see. They don't see their own spirit person, eternal spirit person behind, seated in the body. Though we are always spirit soul. When we are in conditioned state or in a liberated state, we are always spirit soul. But if you are in tamoguna, you don't see your spirit soul, you don't perceive your spirit soul, you don't perceive even your subtle body. When our consciousness becomes more and more fine, by hearing. Tell me, can anyone in this world, through any instruments, can capture the mind, can capture buddhi, can capture your ego? Cannot. But can capture your body, gross body. Can see your organs, everything, gross body. The soul is seated in the heart. What this? From hearing we know, not by seeing. You have a subtle body, you know by hearing. Now, so many years we have heard, it has become a fact for us. There is manas, buddhi, ahankara. Chittam is there. It has become a fact for us. And not only it has become a fact, we are seeing how the entire system works. This gross body is not running by grossness. Mind is directing the senses. Intelligence is directing the mind. And the ego is deciding according to the intelligence given. Ego is using its free will, making decision, willing, willpower. So we are able to see all these things. And realize that yes, they truly exist. This relationship truly exists. And how all these things have come by hearing. What is the function of ego? What is the function of spirit person in the body? What is the function of this, the mind, ego, intelligence? What is false ego? What is real ego? How we are not, that how this ego, intelligence, mind, body is not me, how it is a covering over me. These are all impersonal. In this entire self, the body is there, gross body is there. There is only one part of this self. Then you have the chittam. Chittam means it is personas, different kinds of personalities. Situational. The spirit person interacts with the world through different personas or situational persons. When you relate with A, you have one persona. When you relate with B, you have one persona. When you stand for Mangalarti, you have one persona. When you do Guru Puja, you have another persona. Each persona has desires, feelings, thinking, feeling, willing, doing, impulses. So our chittam consists of different kinds of personas. Where did we get all these things? Where did we get this knowledge? Not only where did we get this knowledge, we are able to utilize this knowledge, we are able to see that reality, not with the eyes. We heard, and then we saw. Oh, I heard there is a mind. Oh, what is the function of the mind? Let me observe. Hearing is before observing. Then you identify, I know my mind. By observing, you realize, yes, there is a separate portion inside me, which is intelligence. Just like if I observe my body, I'll see, yes, I have legs, I have hands, I have face. You see different parts of the gross body. How do you see that? Through the gross senses. A blind person, he also knows he has a hand, but he has not seen his hand. But somehow he has perceived it because other senses, gross senses, help him perceive. So he believes there is a hand. Self-realization means to hear from the absolute source of all knowledge, that is Krishna, which is coming in the descending process into this world through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we get the substance which is to be heard. And it is described here that when you hear, that sound contains the meaning. Meaning means knowledge. That means by this descending process of sound, you get knowledge. When you go on hearing the sound, transcendental sound, just like you read Prabhupada's books, you may read impersonally in the beginning, but then the real reading happens when you hear Prabhupada. Prabhupada is speaking to you. Though he is not before you, you see him speaking to you. You are in touch with Prabhupada's talk. Really, Prabhupada's talk is there. Prabhupada is there in that talk. May not be in the letters. The moment the letter manifests as a sound, is there. The subtle things we have to understand. That's why karmis cannot understand. We say this book is not different from Krishna. They say, no, here it is all printed matter and all those things. Paper, and how can you say it is Krishna? Yeah, it is Krishna's energy. At the same time, for me it's not just Krishna's energy. Krishna or the speaker manifests their presence. That is very important here, you see. That is a way, indicates the presence of a speaker. That means spiritual hearing means you have to feel the presence of the speaker. Then there is a transmission from the speaker to the hearer. Very important thing. It's a science. If you are not feeling the presence, just like we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You hear. Initially your consciousness is not fine enough to hear, feel the presence of the Lord who is in the sound. None different from Krishna, and Krishna's name is none different. Abhinnatvan nama naminoho. The truth remains, whether you can feel the presence of Krishna or not, Krishna is there in the sound. Especially so because you have received the sound from the spiritual master, a spiritual source. Sound is everything. But the source of sound is also everything. You cannot separate the source of sound from the sound, spiritual sound and the sound. These are all material sounds, phenomenal sounds. They are not no speaker is speaking this. And it has no meaning also. Rubbish. What meaning it conveys? Still it conveys wood. From the sound you can make out this is wood, this is metal. But it is impersonal sound. That sound is called Chinmaya Shabda. What is Chinmaya Shabda? A Shabda where the speaker is present in that sound is called Chinmaya Shabda. A Chinmaya Shabda is produced by a person who is in the Chinmaya platform. In awakened consciousness or a spiritual platform, he speaks from the spiritual platform. Or he repeats what somebody has spoken, somebody who is on a spiritual platform has spoken. When he repeats that, that also becomes Chinmaya Shabda. Every day we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a Chinmaya Shabda. Chinmaya Shabda goes and impacts our soul. Material sound cannot impact the soul. Material sound cannot penetrate the material energy itself. Material sound is meant for being around in this material world. It is an imitation of the spiritual sound. So the spiritual sound is Chinmaya Shabda. This concept we have to understand. That the presence of the speaker of that sound, like Prabhupada's purport, speaker is Prabhupada. He is giving the meaning. You are hearing from him the meaning. You go on reading Prabhupada's books, and from hearing you create perception. Perception is how you see. The modern science, what is there? You see and create knowledge. That is called objective knowledge. This objective knowledge is tamasic way of seeking truth. It is relative truth in this world. What is it really? Means you are seeing not what is it really through your senses, what it is really. Just like modern scientists, so scientific they are. They are saying, what is it really? Who am I really? I am body, that's all over. Because he wants, he's seeing, I want to see, I see only a body. Body interacts, creates mind, intelligence, ego, all this. So such a flawed perception. When we initially come to Krishna consciousness, we also seek truth. What is it really? What is soul really? What is God really? What is really? But when we are conditioned by the same thing, that I am trying to perceive that through my senses. And you find it's a roadblock. You're not able to comprehend what the scriptures say. Because slowly you have not changed the primacy of seeing with the primacy of hearing. I get enlightened by hearing, not by seeing. I gave example. To that degree, I am more enlightened than a scientist. That I have heard, I have a mind, I have a body, I have a subtle body, I have soul, all these things. I am able to see how they all operate. Just like if you know you're this body, you will also know how. I ask you next question, what does the hand do, what does the leg do? You will be able to explain. That means your knowledge of the body. Similarly, when you hear from the proper sources the truth is that we have a subtle body also, manas, buddhi, ahankara. And that truth is explaining what are the functions of the manas, buddhi, ahankara and atma in this body. Atma jnana. Then I get yatma jnana. How they are all interacted. What does the soul do? What does the ego do? What is the role of ego? What is the role of mind? What is the role of intelligence? The only way to understand all these things is by hearing. And you read from Prabhupada's book something that you hear. It's a very subtle process. What you read from Prabhupada's book, you understand when the super soul speaks to you. Only then it becomes an enlightened knowledge. The Lord is seated in our heart, in everyone's heart. And He is the one who gives us realizations. When we surrender to the spiritual master, then it is a combined action of the all-knowing Supreme Lord in everyone's heart and the spiritual master. By the combined action, the transcendental meaning or divya jnana is communicated to the heart. And then, when such talk is repeated, what we hear, by contemplation on what we hear, we repeat that transcendental sound, that statement of Prabhupada, that statement of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. When we repeat that, that is our job. To speak to you is their job. Now I sit, automatically all knowledge will come. Knowledge will come, but it has to stay inside you. Otherwise it will come and it will go. If it has to stay inside you, you have a role to play. Your role is repeated Shravanam. Repeated Shravanam. Only it will stay inside. The way to keep something inside is by repeated Shravanam. The word repeated is very important, not but just by Shravanam once. Because there is so much thickness of so various different modes of material nature covering us. Therefore, the repetition is required. Wrong things are there in our conscience, in our chittam. It has to go. If your chittam is clear, one hearing is enough. One hearing is enough. You don't need to repeat. All realization will come just by hearing. But since we are conditioned in this material world, repeated Shravanam, repeated Mananam on the meaning, repeated Dhyanam on the meditation on the feelings, emotions connected with that meaning, and repeated action or act on the basis of the talk turns into perception, perception turns into feeling, then action comes. So how important is this? So important is starting point of self-realization is hearing this transcendental sound. It's called the descending process of knowledge. Don't see and hear. A spiritualist does not see and hear. A spiritualist hears and then sees according to hearing. If I see people according to the way I see and try to hear, the only understanding I will get is we are all bodies. Instead, you hear what the Shastra says. Who are you? What are people in this material? What is this body consists of? What is all this? You hear, and then you learn how to see. That is called Tattva Darshinaha. You see the truth. Spirit person, his chittam, his gross body, so many different kinds of spirit person generates so many different kinds of personas. Personas means relationships. Father persona, mother persona, husband persona, GBC persona, temple president persona. Some personas are I'm an enjoyer persona. Correct? I am a servant of Krishna persona. So every day, morning to evening, we are switching so many personas. Some of those personas are Maya personas. Maya personas are called false ego. Some of the personas are because we are sadhakas. Some of the personas are they are coming from being servant of Krishna. Everything, how I see everything in service of Krishna. How I see people in service of Krishna. If you have no reference of service of Krishna and you see something, then it becomes a material seeing. So then we see, as we become spiritualists, as our consciousness become finer and finer by hearing this sound, finer and finer truths we are able to perceive. Seeing is the narrowest way of understanding what is around you, even materially. Narrowest way. It is called the tamasic way. Modern science, therefore, we say tamasic. It is knowledge. But it has no context with the rest of the things. It's a truncated knowledge. It's not holistic knowledge. I see the properties of this, gross properties, and then I repeat it. Or I have this knowledge, then I use that. All seems to be working because it's within that grossness. Those laws only I studied, and then that gross law will be applying. But if you ask the person, okay, can you explain who is seeing this flower? He cannot. Who is smelling this flower? Science has no answer. You say it's a beautiful rose. What is beauty? Science has no answer. They'll give the physics, chemistry of this. They cannot give the total value of this as a creation of the Lord. So our dependence should increase in spiritual life on hearing. The more you read Prabhupada's book, the more you advance. But this is not ordinary sound. This is Satya, Sat Shakti, Chit Shakti is there in the Shabda. When you have a faith that Prabhupada is speaking from this purpose to me, Prabhupada is not limited by, the speaker is not limited by time, space and circumstances. His decision to remain in this world, manifested way to remain in this world is sound. I live in my sound. I live forever. You shall utilize. What does it mean? In that manifest, Prabhupada limits himself. The manifest presence of his sound. But you need spiritual seeing to feel or perceive the unmanifest presence. Manifest presence means in your eyes you can see. Unmanifest presence. There are two conceptions of spiritual master, Prabhupada says. Physical presence and presence in sound. Both are presence. So much though that Prabhupada says, my presence in sound is more important than Vani, is more important than Vapu. Then you may ask, why both should have been given? No, everybody will get, Prabhupada should not have left this planet at all. Correct? More and more, the whole world could have been liberated. Why did he go away? 10 years he was here, then so many devotees were formed. Some more years he would have changed the whole world. So the ways of the Lord are different. Prabhupada is also under the direction of the Lord. Prabhupada, he wants Prabhupada to go and give Vapu present somewhere else. And then kick off another chain reaction. Today, without his Vapu, chain reaction is going on. We have all become devotees. We are distributing books. And there everybody is, and those who understand, those who go beyond a certain point, they understand that physical presence is not important. Spiritual master's function is to give us Divya Gyan. And that he is giving us, even now, he is giving us Divya Gyan. Otherwise, how we are transforming, spiritually transforming. We have our consciousness as spiritually transformed. I am no longer see this world like a karmi, like a sense gratifier. I see everything as Krishna's energy, Krishna's Shakti, Krishna's Leela. Even the karmi's world, everything. Hidden from vision, he is there everywhere, within and without. Did you see? He is within and without. Now you believe? Not only believe, how do you get realization? When you hear from a pure source that drishya, the transcendental darshan, tattva darshinaha, that is gifted. Your inner eyes get enlightened. Your inner eye should see first and then your gross eye should see. Inner eyes is what? The eyes of Shabda. Jnana. Inner eyes. So we as spiritualists, we should practice self-talk. Is nothing but repetition. Shravanam Kirtanam, repetition of what you have heard. Then it becomes a conviction. That subject becomes a conviction when you repeatedly hear. So ultimately, a spiritualist, a sadhaka, a spiritualist, he lives in sound. He lives in sound. That means he lives in transcendental sound, transcendental stories, transcendental. I mean, let's say now we are building this temple. Our goal is to offer this to Prabhupada and Krishna. So we are going out, so many activities we are doing, we are managing all these things. We don't remember our body at all. Body is used. So we live in transcendental narratives. No, nowadays this word narratives is very, very common. Narratives. Narratives are very powerful, they say. What is it? Shabda. So we should always be absorbed in spiritual narratives. Then our spiritual seeing develops. Spiritual narratives. Just like now I am talking Krishna consciousness, Bhagavatam class. It's a spiritual narrative. Why sound is more important than seeing? How seeing should come from hearing. If you want the truth. If you want illusion, there is an ascending process. Truncated truth. Your self is body also, no doubt. Means part of your total. If I study the body is also part of your total self. But you are seeing truncated truth. That you are seeing partial truth. You are assigning all that spiritual, personal characteristic. Body is not a person at all. Body is separate, person is separate. But that person we are mixing up with this body. And then we are creating false personalities, false personas. I am this body, false ego. Who is doing all this? The spirit person is doing all this. Because only spirit person is a person in this body. So by hearing from the transcendental sources, by hearing from Krishna, from hearing by all, we understand that we are not the body. This body is changing body. We are not the false ego. That means I am not this body. I am the knower of the body. I am the user of the body. I am eternal. This comes and goes. This body comes and goes. Therefore, I am not this body. I am eternal. I am one who never dies. Person never dies. Person leaves the body. Person never dies. Body dies and the person leaves the body. Like this, you repeatedly you hear narratives. Your perception of people, perception of yourself will change. If you don't hear, you will continue to see the way you have been taught to see from childhood. Not spiritual seeing. So spiritual advancement means I have to change the way I see people now as a spiritualist. Otherwise, what is my realization? What is my spiritual advancement? I see the world the way they see. My seeing is more complete than theirs. I see the spirit person, I see the subtle body, I see the personas, I see person generating personas, I see the every living entity is after Sat, Chit and Ananda, and is floating different personas and trying to extract Satchidananda from this material world. Whereas the spirit person's eternal hunger of Satchit Ananda can be satisfied only in devotional service of the Lord in connection with His Purna. He is an Amsha. I am an Amsha. Only I connect with my Purna, my Sat, Chit and Ananda will be fully satisfied. Just like this finger, if I cut and drop it, it will rot. This finger has to serve the whole body. As long as it is connected, then you get supply. It will fresh and active. Similarly, I am a tiny part and parcel of Krishna. I am entitled for tiny Sattva Chitta and Ananda. Just like this doesn't need the blood that is required by a finger is very less, right? The whole body has so much requirement of blood. Similarly, I am a tiny living entity. You are a tiny living entity. We all need little Sattva Chitta and Ananda. Quantity is less, doesn't matter, but it is Sat Chitta Ananda. But now it is Asat, dynamically it is given. But now we are floating in the consciousness of Asat, Achit and Jadananda. False ideas of pleasure. Gross body pleasure is equal to my pleasure. My subtle body pleasure is equal to my pleasure. That is not your pleasure. That cheating pleasure. My pleasure is when I use my gross body and subtle body to give pleasure to Krishna's senses, which is eternal. To satisfy Krishna, to please Krishna, satisfy Krishna's mind by following what he says in the Bhagavad Gita. How to advance, how to advance, how to advance. Read Prabhupada's books more and more. Hear. Serve him so that you get the capacity to absorb. Just like ultimately to get strength you need to eat food, right? So you eat. So somebody will say that, look, ultimately you have to be strong means you have to eat. Now there is another factor. You go on eating. Achas. Only by eating I can become strong. You go on eating. Can you really go on eating also? You cannot. Why? Because what you ate has to digest. And then you want more. Otherwise, the more you eat, you will have problems. Similarly, you read more without serving Prabhupada, you will have problems. You will create your own philosophy out of Prabhupada's books. So there has to be a balance of creating appetite by serving. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena. It's a science. Pariprashnena sevaya. If you have hunger, you read. Maybe you have done so much service, you have got enough hunger. You are lapping up everything that you read. But simply you hear from class, you should read, you should read, you should read. Then you are struggling to read and you are sleeping. As soon as you read one page, you are sleeping. Appetite is not there. You have to create appetite. Appetite is created by questioning and service. Pariprashnena sevaya. You have to do service. You cannot be inactive. You have to ask questions. Only when you ask questions, knowledge will make sense. If you don't ask who I am, you read you are not the body. Boom, it goes away. But you have got a very deep hunger, who I am. You have asked, oh, that means, okay, I am something, but I am not the body. It strikes you. You need a slot of a question and you need an answer. They fit together. Brahma Jijnasa is very important. So this is our role. What is our role to get enlightened? Don't think asking question is not good in spiritual life. Prabhupada explains. Bhagavatam is full of question answers. No, I should not speculate. I should not ask question. Who said? Questioning is questioning. That word is there. It has got different connotations. You don't question somebody. Police also questions the thief. That is not questioning. That we have to genuinely seek transcendental knowledge, which means you know the Lord in my heart is there. I know Prabhupada will give me the answer for this, but I have to be ready with asking the question. When I ask the question, I will get the answer from Prabhupada's book. It goes and so slot, it fits answer and question together. Perfect questions, perfect answers. They sit together in your mind. That is called spiritual knowledge. Then you get enlightened. So questioning is your sevaya. Serve the source of your answers. Serve whom? Serve the spiritual master. The source of answers. You have questions, serve the source of answers, and then you get the realization. So this is a process. So by following all the sadhana that Prabhupada has given, the Acharya has given, slowly we move from wanting to see the truth. That means seeing is believing. Your standard changes to hearing God is believing. Hearing Prabhupada is believing. And then when you change your standard, your, as I said, gross eyes is limited truth it sees. But you develop the process of hearing, then you can see all the layers of reality, including God is everywhere, including the super soul in the body. You have to hear. When you hear, you realize the Lord in the heart is guiding you. You see immediately, you get stuck up somewhere and you see, immediately direction comes. You not simply you swallow those directions, you immediately recognize Lord is the leader of all devotees. Super soul is the leader of all devotees. Just let me consider, oh, he is GPC's leader, temple commander is leader. That is very grossly you have realization they are leaders. But we can have same realization throughout the day that Krishna is my leader in my heart. Super soul is my leader. And the leader, what does he do? He follows the leader's instruction, right? These are all very much realizable truth. As long as we remain in the grossness to appreciate this truth, it takes time. But when this subtle understanding, hearing comes, importance of hearing, subtler and subtle hearing, especially learning how to hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why? This Shabda is a reservoir of all hearing. It is a reservoir of all knowledge. Krishna himself. There is nothing greater than hearing. That's why simply hear Nama, chant and hear Nama, all this knowledge will be realized, even without reading sometime. But we'll have to read. But ideally, philosophically speaking, if you simply chant, you will get all realization. Once one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, he is not educated, he cannot read Hindi, he cannot read English. Prabhupada said, let him chant Hare Krishna and hear properly. He will get the same result as the person who is a big scholar who can read and hear. He will get. Divya Gyan Hide Prakashita. The process. Holy name will reveal the essence of the knowledge. Knowledge is not about language. When you are in a human form, then you have that spiritual intelligence, gifted, irrespective of. Knowledge is about you're trained in English, trained in Malayalam, trained in Tamil, trained in communication. An instrument of communication is language. But who is a communicator? Who is a hearer? It's a spirit soul. It is natural for spirit soul to ask question and absorb knowledge, whether educated or uneducated. So if you're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you hear properly, Krishna Nama will speak into our heart of such a devotee. Because Nama is reservoir of Sat Chitta Ananda. But because we are not able to have that Shraddha, faith and attachment to the holy name, we have to support ourselves in the beginning because our mind needs reasoning, mind needs all this other next level of conviction and all we need. Therefore, Prabhupada presents these things in the Shastra, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra also has to be taken help of to prevent the speculations, to prevent or you can say reading is important. If you read well, you can hear well. Ultimately, everything comes from chanting Hare Krishna, right? At our stage, if you read Prabhupada's books, you will be able to hear better. So good chanting happens if you read Prabhupada's books. And develop spiritual narratives. Read for what purpose? Is to develop spiritual narratives of everything. Spiritual narrative of body, spiritual narrative of man, woman, spiritual narrative of sex, spiritual narratives of Grahastha Ashrama, spiritual narratives of what is Brahmacharya Ashram, spiritual narrative of who is a guru, what is a guru, spiritual narrative of why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, spiritual narratives of qualities of God, spiritual narratives of holy name. Just see, continuously a spiritualist is absorbed in narratives of truth, of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and narratives of serving him. Building this temple is a narrative of all the devotees who are building. So they go, they collect or do something or construct or manage or whatever it is. They have the narrative of serving the Lord in this particular form to finish this project. Correct? So that becomes spiritualized narrative because you are doing it for Krishna. A person may be building skyscraper for a real estate person. He is also into narratives. But his narratives are all. Prabhupada says in one of the books how sound is important. He said in New York, so many skyscrapers are there. It all begins with sound, he says. Why? It is in the narrative of the builder. It is the narrative of the owner. I want this, I want this. He creates a narrative. Then his brain, mind, everything acts. So many narratives of exchange. He is calling up, I want this material over the phone. It's all sound. And then he says, okay, I'll supply. Where this is available, you ask questions. Right? So some people are so expert, a particular task, they have got a fixed narrative. Tuck, 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 1 tower, 2 tower, 3 tower you will make. Big deal. Ambani knows how to do any business, anywhere, any subject. He knows the standard narratives. And he just does that and get everything else done by somebody else. Correct? What is he doing? In all his company, what is he doing? He is holding top narratives. Profit, loss, this, that's all. That narrative. And from that narrative, see the power of that narrative. He is pushing off all the policies, everything, huge companies. So Shabda is very powerful. So you have to learn how to live in spiritual narratives. Sound will keep us out of bodily concept. You are the narrative. Body is not making the narrative. Spirit person is making the narrative, including the narrative, I am this body is a narrative. A spirit soul is, every faith, every belief is a narrative. We have created that narrative. Communism is a narrative, democracy is a narrative, all, right? Woke narrative, different kinds of narratives. You just plant people in that narrative, then he has become a communist. Right? Now we plant Krishna conscious narratives, he becomes a devotee. Same thing. But the source is, one is pure, one is absolute truth, other is Maya narrative. Maya narrative. And to live in the spiritual narrative, plenty of sources there. Purport after purport after purport. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. So my doubt is that, so when I'm speaking to a group of people, so I'm not personally speaking with any individual person. I'm speaking as a group. But so similarly, when Prabhupada speaks through his books, is he, from his perspective, personally speaking to me when I read? Is my question. Or
Both.
is he speaking to a group of people?
Prabhupada is able to speak for both. They are not limited. When a spiritual speaker speaks, many times we see a speaker speaks, class, lot of devotees. Some devotees come back and say, Prabhupada, how did you know my problems? The whole class was for my problem. So spiritual sound has no limits. So you are speaking, but actually super soul knows who all are sitting there, what kind of medicine each has to get. If somebody deserves something, he'll make you speak that. So you are only a loudspeaker. Prabhupada and Guru and Krishna is speaking. So they are doing their job of enlightening everybody. That's why when a speaker speaks, he doesn't think I am speaking. He should come out of that, he should spontaneously speak. He should come out of that thing that I am speaking my ideas. No. Krishna is speaking. Krishna is, if you speak your realization also, it is source is where? Krishna. At one time you did not have that realization. You are also thinking you are the body. Now you are saying you are not the body. That means, is that knowledge belonging to you? You got it. sometime. So we are dependent on Krishna eternally for knowledge. So anyway, that is the answer. Next, somebody else.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So this question is related to hearing actually. So this is about soulful japa, Prabhu. So generally, whenever we do any activity, the more times we repeat it, it becomes mechanical, right? For example, when I'm playing a Mridanga mantra for the first time, that time I'm very, very conscious with every single beat that I'm playing because I'm playing it for the first time. But the more I keep playing it again and again, it becomes mechanical and my conscious mind is taken away from it.
Correct.
Same thing happens for Hare Krishna mantra also. For me, I'm saying, since I'm a conditioned soul, the more I keep chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, it is our natural tendency because the more we repeat one activity as per our bodily condition, it becomes a part of our subconscious activity and a part of a mechanical activity, which is not supposed to be happening. And one more thing is that many times whenever I chant my Hare Krishna mantra, I do with your soulful japa guidance, like you did.
Cards.
Yeah. Cards I'm not yet very much experienced, Prabhu. But the most lines that you have said is no thinking, just hearing that. So regarding this, honestly I have to say 6 years I've been chanting Hare Krishna mantra, 16 rounds mostly. And there's not even been one time I have said Hare or Krishna or Rama with 100% hearing and 0% thinking. I've never come across that. If at all my thinking is minimal, it is only when I'm in a very, very deep sleep, when my body is very, very inactive. It is only at that time that my thinking is very minimal, or I've never experienced 0% even at that time. And yesterday I was discussing this with one more devotee, that Prabhu, I'm finding it very difficult to stop my thinking. And he told me that don't focus on what you should not do, focus on what you should do. So hear more. So that created one more doubt for me, which is as per the chariot of the body, the intelligence cannot directly come in contact with the senses without the mind. So when I have to hear, the mind is involved, that I should hear. The mind is dictating the senses that I should hear. So there is involvement of mind, there is thinking, I should hear, which is backed up by many thoughts, why I should hear, how I should hear. So for me to hear the mantra which I am saying, it involves the mind, which does not help me to stop thinking. So finally my question is, how do I increase my hearing to the maximum capacity and reduce my thinking, and in this way make my chanting to the highest intensity possible?
First of all, you are mistaking what no thinking during japa means. What? No thought processing. You cannot be there without thinking. I have a fixed thought, Krishna is before me. You don't process that thoughts. But it's a conviction, already belief is there, it is present, Krishna is present before me. It is not thinking. Thinking is what? An activity. Thought. Fixed thoughts are there. But those fixed thoughts, if it is not converted into feelings, it will lead to thinking. Therefore, thoughts, when it is converted into feeling, it is called bhavana. An angry thought and anger are together. When an angry thought comes, you don't have to separately create anger. Right? Anger automatically comes. So if the thoughts about the holy name and Krishna, all those things, if they are converted into conviction and feelings, conviction itself is a truth feeling. It's a feeling of truth that this is true. That's the first card, Shraddha. So unless that is converted to feeling, then even that, oh, Krishna is before me, turns into a thinking. How is he before me? This thing, all those things. But if you have developed enough of mananam and dhyanam on this subject of the Shastra, Shravanam, repeated Shravanam, followed by developing into a conviction, why Krishna is before you, at that time if you have developed into a bhavana, you don't have to think, but you will feel Krishna there. But first timer, he has to understand, how Krishna can come? There is a sound, no? So all kinds of questions will come, then you have to. So all these things you should read Prabhupada's books and understand, and then it becomes a conviction and a realization with little feelings, and then that stands as a thought feeling. A thought feeling is called bhavana. An angry thought is called a bhavana.
Prabhu, this bhavana that you are saying, does it not involve the mind and
It involves, who said don't involve the mind? Soulful japa means whole mind japa. Well, somewhere you got wrong understanding that mind should not be involved in chanting. Mind is directing the senses. Chant and hear. Mind has to be mind is active in tasking. As every Hare and Krishna, as it manifests, you have to keep capturing. That means you have to run it's an activity, you run your attention with each sound. If mind is not involved, how can you do that? The tasking is there. Mind does tasking. What is the tasking? See that no Hare Krishna are left without being heard. As you hear, you should absorb word by word. So mind has a big role.
Bro, this bhavana should be developed while chanting or when we are apart from chanting?
Apart from chanting. Only by thinking repeatedly you will develop bhavana. So I am saying don't thinking. During japa, no thinking. But at the same time, thinking is so valuable, only by thinking about what you heard from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, it will turn into a bhavana. Shravanam, mananam. You have to do mananam on what you shravanam. What you heard, when you do mananam, mananam is rational reflection on what you heard. Why that is true. When you do that, it becomes a conviction. Okay? Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Two questions, Prabhu.
Let me summarize. You understood? Mind is active, but correct role you should give for the mind. Do not engage in thought processing. Because thought processing is what? You are hearing your thoughts. If you hear your thoughts, you cannot hear. Correct? What is thought processing? You have a problem. You thought processing. You give one solution, then you get back, you speculate, no, this is not okay. Then finally, problem is solved or not solved. Your conversation is going on. That is thought processing. Problem solving, everything is a thought processing, this mental activity. So mental activity is still there. But now instead of thought processing, it will do the hearing.
So you said bhavana should be developed while not chanting. So while chanting, how do we simultaneously chant bhavana?
You only know all this. You told me subconscious. You know the entire how the yantra works. It is in the background. Automatically it will come. You don't have to do. When you do artificially, it is not bhavana. You are thinking. You are thinking of the philosophy that Krishna is before me. But you have to convert it into mananam, and then it becomes conviction. Then you don't have to. You feel Krishna is before you. You feel Shabda is Krishna. Your conscious mind, subconscious mind, foreground mind, whole background mind, everything is involved in japa. Don't get stuck in conscious mind is a very small part of yours. Your current controlling mind is called conscious mind. Your chittam is beyond that. Your realizations are all sitting in the chittam. They work beautifully in, just like, you have fan and environment and, you've got nice AC and a nice temperature. This is an environment. In this environment, you can work very well. If the environment is not there, you cannot work very well. Similarly, bhavana is like environment that you have already created in your chittam. Okay, it's a preparation. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, during soulful japa, you said like hear the full mantra once. What it is actually, Prabhu? Whether any one or two words we hear the full chant, it is enough, or actually what it means, that one. And another question is like in Prabhupada, all the books we see the Sanskrit sloka, word by word meaning, then purport. So usually I will read only the meaning and purport only. So is there, sometimes it is due to laziness and time, everything. What's the importance of, is there any importance is there reading the sloka and mainly the word by word meaning? These two questions, Prabhu.
Of course, it is there means there is meaning. Even Sanskrit has meaning, word to word has meaning. But depends on, you can start with that. You can start with translation only. But later on you would like to, get the feel of it. As you repeat those words, man mana bhava mat bhakto. If you learn the meaning also, what is man mana bhava mat bhakto, then you will feel, just like in your local language, if I say something, you will hear also and you will feel also. Similarly, word to word meaning will help you feel Krishna speaking. What was the first question?
Hear the full mantra once.
Hear the full mantra, because you see, it's a japa. It is japa of what? Japa is not japa of not Hare Krishna Rama. On one bead, japa means you are on each bead you are chanting something, and you are repeating that. That is called japa. That means who is the savior? Who is receiving your service? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just like you have a form, leg, hand, face, right? Similarly, the person who is receiving this nama has got the Shabda Rupa of 16 sounds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This sound is called nama, Hare Krishna Nama Prabhu. Every nama is Nama Prabhu. But unlimited, Advaita, what is it? Nam Akari Bauda Nija Sarva Shakti. Right? Many, Achyuta, Govinda, Mukunda, every nama is Nama Prabhu. But we are sadhakas of Hare Krishna Nama Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we should develop a relationship with this particular Shabda Rupa. Because in each bead he is appearing. Why they appear like this in this transcendental form? You will understand gradually. Why not Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama, Krishna Krishna? No. Why in this particular form they have decided to come? Krishna means Krishna, Hare means Radharani. Why they have joined together to come in this particular form? There must be big science, spiritual science behind it. Sundara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.